in Ben's face. Ben held himself like a professional, but things went wrong, and we all saw what happened afterwards with that knockout. So it would be good, like, to see how Jules, because he's a big figure in Australian MMA. Not so much for his fighting, but like, he's an entertainer. So it'd be good to see how he comes back from this as well.
Alright, guys, we are back and we are live on Monday Night Mayhem. And I just got off a discussion with Suman on Nitro, and I can't wait to see all the videos up because apparently Australian top team now have a world champion in.
Yeah, Nitro MMA champion with Sam K. Sam, the K9K, ready for the world. He won the championship once before. He lost it, and he came back and reclaimed his title. Just like Kane did.
All right, man. Just before we start off the show, I just want to say that Monday Night Mayhem have got on 3 months running every Monday successfully because of this guy here, right here. So I would like to give a special thanks to Suman Mukhtar and Mr. Australian Top Team. Thank you so much, man, for being on the show every week.
Thank you. I love it. I love working on the show. I have a lot of fun. I'm privileged, and I'm very thankful that I've been allowed to be on the show.
All right, man. I want to start with Glory because every Twitter page, every Facebook page has been talking about UFC, have been talking about Anthony Leone's Bellator, but nobody is talking about Glory. And Glory had a great event. Remy Bojeski was having his swan song fight, his last fight, and this fight, dude, Andy Risti and David Kiria. You watched that fight?
Yeah, I saw that. It was actually a topic with me and my kickboxing coach today. He had an argument with someone because someone said that Andy had lost it or something, and I just think he just wasn't on his game that night, So yeah, like it was a good fight, but Glory always brings it. Any guy that comes into Glory, they're the shit. Glory's just as fun for me to watch as anything else.
It was a damn great fight. Andy was actually punishing David for the first few rounds, but at the end, oh my god, the knockout.
He came back. That was a huge comeback. Because Andy just looked like he was gonna walk in and dominate, like he does, and he got caught. It was an awesome knockout. Great comeback.
All right. I'm just gonna try to push on to the knockout here because I just love watching this. Andy was really out, man, at that round. All right, then we'll go on to the main event of the evening. Remy Bojeski versus Mirko Krokop. Who do you thought really won the fight, Krokop or Bojeski?
I think Krokop won the fight. In my opinion, I think the only reason Bojeski got the fight was because it was his last fight. I actually said last week that I don't like Remy. I'm pretty sure I was saying fuck Remy, this and that. But it was a good fight. It could have gone either way, but in my opinion, Krokop won that fight. It's not one of those. I don't know if it was a robbery, but at the same time, I want to see Krokop win. I like seeing Krokop win. I think that's what it was. I think the only reason he got the nod was because it was his last fight, and it could have gone either way. So if you had to give it to someone, I could see they wanted to just give it to him.
All right, man. I just can't wait for the next Glory event. Daniel Gita, Tyrone Spong. Who do you think will win that fight?
Spong. All day. I'm a massive Spong fan. Spong is the man. I would not want to fight Spong. Spong on steroids is a great fighter. Whatever he's on, whatever you want to say he's on something. But I don't care what he's on. Like, it's just cool to watch him fight. It's like saying Melvin Manhoff is completely clean. He's not clean, but you still want to watch him fight, and you don't care. You're just like, yeah, watch him fight. Everyone blows up. If Chael Sonnen took drugs and peptides or something like that, they're like, nah, get him off, But Melvin Manhoff, it's fine, But nah. Yeah, I'm a big Spong fan. I think he's an amazing fighter. and even if he's focusing sometimes on MMA, he's still one of the best K1 kickboxers in the world.
Yeah, man, I would love to see that fight. So we'll go on with Bellator.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the first one. Talking about kickboxing, we have two great kickboxers on. Mighty Mo
Mighty Mo.
and Peter Graham. Yeah, I didn't know about this fight because Bellator actually didn't hype it up. It would be a great way to bring on kickboxers fans to watch. But in the end, they had a grappling competition. And Suman, what kind of submission is that?
It's not a submission. It's I don't know. You know what? You know what it's like. Okay, have you seen that fight with the 700-pound MMA fighter with the little 170-pound fighter in Pride?
Ah, yes.
The big sumo guy, the black guy. If he was to mount the little guy and put his tits in the little guy's face, is that a submission? No, it's not. All right, we pretty much saw. You know what? If you want to call it something, it was smothering. You know, because this is actually really funny, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't watch that fight.
Uh-huh.
I was in Queensland, obviously, for the Nitro fight.
Uh-huh.
So what happened was I was reading up on it play-by-play on Shidon as everything was going on. And as I'm reading the play-by-play, I'm like, okay, Graham's in front again. And then the last thing I read was scaffold. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell, a scaffold? You know, like, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, but like, I don't know too many of these terms that they've brought out. And so what I did, I went to MMA Jungle.
Uh-huh.
And they called it a head and arm choke. And I was thinking, okay, now I'm real confused. So what I did was I typed scaffold into
Google.
YouTube.
Okay.
I just typed it into YouTube to see what it was. I'm like, oh, what submission is this? And then I saw like a 3-minute clip. You know, it was a clip with a guy from side control controlling the head and the arm. And then it pretty much had the guy like, you know, switching his legs and controlling the head and the arm, but not squeezing anything. And then the clip stopped. And I realized that it's not a submission, it's a position.
Okay.
And then I just realized Peter Graham is still shit. I realized that this guy is in Bellator and he's thought to himself, you know what? Nah, I want to bang. I'm a K1 kickboxer. I don't want to work on my ground game. And I just want some guy to smother me and I'm going to tap to it. You know, like Peter Graham's Australian. I've met Peter Graham.
Uh-huh.
Real nice guy. Very humble. Great fighter.
And he knocked out Badr Hari.
Yeah, he knocked out Badr Hari. But
Yep.
Badr Hari isn't an MMA fighter. He's in MMA now.
Uh-huh.
If you were going to do MMA, work on your ground. Listen, too many guys now.
Uh-huh.
And this is something that really, really pisses me off. There is nothing that pisses me off more than someone coming into my gym, right, and saying, listen, I want to do MMA. I'm like, okay. And he tells me, what do I start with? First thing I tell every person, start with BJJ. I like that as my base. It's a suggestion. And if they say wrestling, that's fine. But it goes hand in hand. So guys want to come and do wrestling and kickboxing for MMA. And I turn around to him and I go, so when are you going to start doing some BJJ? So in case you get taken down, you can do something about it. And they say to me, oh, no, that's why I'm working on my wrestling so I don't get taken down. So they think that their wrestling is going to get them through it. Now, I don't know how many people in this world have never been taken down. You know? But everyone seems to think that just wrestling will get them through. No, you will get tired. You will end up on your back. And you do need to learn some BJJ. And for that reason, I don't enter those guys in any amateur MMA fights or anything. You know? You need to start working your jiu-jitsu more. The game has evolved. Like MMA has evolved. We're not the MMA of 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Everyone is well-rounded fighters. And if you want to be at the top, you have to be a well-rounded fighter. Now, Peter Graham, great fighter, great kickboxer. But he is not an elite MMA fighter, and he never will be because he doesn't want to go and train his jiu-jitsu. And then you know what happens in the end? You get embarrassed by getting tapped out by Mighty Mo, who as well doesn't know shit on the floor. You You know. Thank you, Peter Graham. Great job.
All right.
Listen, I'm a Peter Graham fan. Don't get
Uh-huh.
me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But it pissed me off. You know, Peter Graham is someone who I look up to as a fighter. But then I read that and I get so disappointed in myself because I know how the guy trains, right? But I know how hard he works on his cardio and he works on his boxing and that. If only he could put in the same dedication that he puts into that, into some BJJ, you know, it would be great, you know. The guys at that elite level are capable of anything. They're superstars. Just like I don't know, take a year off from the sport and work off your back. You know, you've got money. It's not what money you're fighting for. You're fighting for pride and glory and things like that. If you're fighting for that, do it fucking right.
Yeah, man. Okay. Any Australian top team guys listening right now, listen to Suman.
Oh,
Seriously, you got to listen. You got to do BJJ. If
I,
you don't do BJJ, you are nothing in MMA.
I tell all my guys that if my guys don't do BJJ, I'm not putting them into an MMA fight. They have to do everything. This is a well-rounded sport. Now, I would rather put a guy who knows wrestling and BJJ into an MMA fight over a guy who's a great kickboxer and knows nothing on the floor.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
feel a lot more. I have a judo black belt in my gym who knows not a lick of stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
He does not know anything, right? But he's 3-0, right? Why? Because he goes in there and he's tough as hell. He takes those punches and he flips guys on the head and he taps them out. You know, I think he's been punched twice in his 3 fights. You know what I mean? Like, and he's had one fight that went the distance too.
Yeah, man. That's the trend I've seen in amateur MMA. BJJ guys always win.
Yeah, like, and you know why? Because it's not a street fight. It's not that anymore. You know, amateur MMA is growing. Amateur MMA is becoming more solid. Now, if you watch a bit some amateur MMA shows where in country towns, for instance, where BJJ there is no BJJ,
Mm-hmm.
what happens is you see 2 guys. For as soon as the bell goes, they run at each other and start swinging, and they get tired, and they eventually fall to the floor, and everyone just walks out of the stadium or something like that. Now, amateur MMA, if you watch some of the amateur MMA guys, even in Australia, now you'll see them just like pros. They start stalking and they pick their shots.
Mm.
It's not a dogfight anymore, you know. It's getting more and more technical as it goes on, and I know sometimes aggression and cardio can win you fights, but sometimes the more composed fighter and smarter fighter will win. And in that sense, I believe that a wrestler and a BJJ guy tries to think more than your average fighter. Anyone can throw a punch and get caught. You know, a BJJ is a tactical thing. Wrestling is a tactical thing, you know, and you time it. And that's why they come away with the win, especially in amateurs.
Right, totally agree, man. But let's go on straight to the main event. Eduardo Dantas bantamweight title with Anthony Leone. You saw how he got Leone's back. That was quite awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Like me and one of the guys, I always do this. Every time I see something, I'm just like, man, did you see what happened on the weekend? Yeah. And we try and do it, but we couldn't really pull it off. You know, I think that was just one of those. Anthony got caught. You know, it's unfortunate. He got caught, and it was just one of those spur of the moment things. I don't think that the way he jumped onto the back is something that he really trains for. You know, I think it's just a two high level grapplers, and one guy pulled something off. It was amazing. I thought it was a really, really slick, cool submission. Because as soon as Anthony was going for that single and the guy turned around and popped back, it's as if he had already slipped his hands behind his neck and gotten the choking. It was real quick, real slick, and you know, that's what happens when you got high-level guys. Anything can happen.
You ever tried to get into that position from standing like that?
Nah, I don't think I've ever tried to do that. I tried to do all these funny cartwheel passes, and that's as fancy as I'm getting. doing a cartwheel pass, but I like my flying submissions and things like that. But I don't know. I never even thought to do that. Like if someone's got my leg, I don't think to do that. You know, because he kind of seemed when he got the choke, he trapped both of his arms.
Yeah, with his legs.
Exactly, he trapped
Yeah.
both his arms, and man, like if someone tries to do that to me, I feel like I can get out. But the way he was on his neck, I'm like, nah, it's finished. You know. But yeah, it's real unfortunate. Anthony, like I said, real cool guy. Trained with him before. He's a high level grappler too. You know, he's a purple belt in BJJ. And he's obviously a college wrestler from America. You know, he's real good, and I think like I said, at that level, anyone can get caught.
All right, man. Moving from Bellator to UFC. Let's
Ah,
start with the funny ones. It's not Gunnar Nelson. One funny one is Igor Araujo versus Danny Mitchell, 50-50
yeah.
guard. You saw
Oh
that?
man, look, you see, I didn't watch the fight.
Uh
I saw the 50-50 guard.
huh.
Someone post that up, and I think it's dangerous as hell. I would not want to sit in a 50-50. And like I don't know, like I don't like to play around too much in that position, but at the same time, like I don't even like looking at it in BJJ.
All right.
It just looks funny. It looks like two lesbian girls going. You know? Like yeah, that's just my opinion. Get out of 50-50. Leave that to Keenan Cornelius or someone who does BJJ and wants to stall fights. You know.
Yeah, because the thing about 50-50 guards is usually who gets the better leg lock, but usually both of them will get out. But this, I don't know what this is, man.
You know what? It looked like they wanted to make a handshake or something, you know, play patty cake or something. Yeah,
All right.
I couldn't stop laughing when I watched it, and I actually showed my BJJ professor, and he tried to tell me, oh, what's going on is actually this, and this, and I said no, that's two lesbians going at it. You know. It's cool. It was cool to see it. Like I said, it's always cool to see something new. You know, you'll see guys develop their techniques more and more, and we laugh at stupid stuff. You know, it's not stupid. I won't say it's stupid. That's very disrespectful by me saying that's stupid. I'm sorry for saying that. But what we see now with those guys playing in 50-50 guard may not be developed into an MMA sense real hard at the moment. But, man, in a few years' times, you never know what we're going to see happening. Like we were talking about tornado guard a few weeks ago and how it's not a smart thing. Some guy's gonna come in and he's gonna master it, and he's gonna be rolling over his head and flipping people and triangling them from a tornado guard and stuff like that. So you know, anything can happen in MMA.
All right, I want to talk about Luke Barnett. This guy is skyrocketing. He has almost the physique of Will Chopes, tall, lengthy. He have great strides, and he just finish off Matt Nielsen very easily. You watched that on Fight Pass?
Yeah, I did. Man, Luke Barnett, if we remember, he was on the Ultimate Fighter with Sonnen and John, and he was Sonnen's #1 pick. You know. And then he had a loss to Dylan Andrews. Now, Dylan Andrews is a local Australian fighter, and I don't know. I think you know when people have that one loss that turns it around for them.
Yep.
I think that loss to Dylan Andrews on that show, because that was the fight of the season. That was an awesome fight, if you remember. That was insane. You know, they went for it, and Dylan got him. But I think since then, if you put those two in a ring now, he will beat Dylan Andrews into a pulp. You know, his game has just I don't know who is he training with at the moment, if you know.
I'm not too sure too.
Because I think it must be a change of camps or something, because he was good on that show, and then since he came off, he's just skyrocketed. He's looking like he's on another level right now, and he's looking more powerful than he was before.
Yeah, man, I love the Superman punch to a left high kick combo, and actually Matt Nielsen actually blocked that, and that kick actually went through, and he got rocked.
Yeah,
That's some serious power, dude.
That's some serious power, you know. Usually you look at the tall, lanky guys, and you wouldn't think that they've got enough power, but you know what? him generating his speed into power, and he's doing something right, because I think that he can be relevant. He can be relevant in the UFC. He did verse a guy who, in my opinion, wasn't up to his level, but yeah, I think he can verse some high level guys. It will be cool to see him fight.
All right, let's go on
He
next.
fought at 85, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, see, there's a bit of a difference in how much experience they've got, but I'd like to see a fight between him and Brad Tavares,
Whoa, but
or
I.
even him and Brad Tavares, or even him and Lorenz Larkin. I think Lorenz just got booked into fight, but Lorenz is a cool striker. I think that would be a cool fight as well. But those two guys would be cool to see. Luke Barnett. It will be a big step up in competition, but yeah, as we go into the main event, we'll see that step up in competitions happen.
Yeah, it's like Will Choke versus Diego Brandao.
Wow.
Yeah, that's gonna happen soon.
Listen,
Uh huh.
we'll talk about that later.
All right. Let's go on because in London there were a lot of submissions. Mr. Green, Headman, Luis Godinot. This reminded me of the Kyron Gracie and Shinya Aoki in Metamoris.
That is exactly what I thought of.
Yep. He just pulled guillotine. What do you call that? A power guillotine?
Yeah. I don't know. I just call anything that's around your neck. I call a guillotine. I think some guys will call that a power guillotine, but I think power guillotine, the actual power guillotine, is more like a is it a rear naked choke to the throat? Front on. Yeah, there's a lot of different names for it. I don't know. I just thought it was a real cool submission. You know, see, that's what I like. I like the submission of the night bonus being there for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for things like that, like I think the performance of the night and things like that is just gonna keep going to the top scale guys, the guys on the main card. You know, we're not gonna anymore see those guys that pull off a real cool submission or pull off a come from behind submission, get their submission bonus. I'm not a fan of this performance of the night bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they are doing because to tell the truth, I would prefer they have the same K of the night, submission of the night, and fight of the night as well. But in add on, because Dana White loves finisher so much, just have a finish bonus for every guy who finished the fight.
Oh,
Then
do they all have finish bonus now?
yeah, no, I would love if they have a finish bonus.
Oh, if they, I'm sure that there's like locker room.
Yeah, there is.
And things like that we don't know about. I've heard stories about, like I said, guys going to their mail and having money in the mail, but you know, I think that at the same time, as much as the money is sweet, I'm sure that the fighter would love to get the recognition for it as well.
Yep, that's great, man. But talking about guillotine chokes, there are two other types of guillotine chokes. The guillotine chokes I love in London was no, not this one.
Gunner?
Yeah, it's Ghana. Because I just learned that the proper guillotine choke at Reps Fitness by Evolve fighter Sebastian Cole. He was telling me it's one leg up, one leg down. Right, one leg on top at the back of your opponent and one leg below, and
Yep.
you squeeze it. Unlike Godinot had a full how do you call it, full body hug with the leg.
Full gut.
Yeah, a full guard. So,
Yeah.
which guillotine is actually more effective?
Man, like I said, every fighter is different, and
Uh-huh.
every fighter can make their own technique effective. Now, as for, you find a lot of wrestlers and things like that, they like that. They don't like that power guillotine. You know, not the guard guillotine. Why? Because they still don't want to be on their back. When you've got that other guillotine where you're more side on to your opponent, you're cranking at the neck more. You know, it's a lot deeper, and you got one leg over, one leg under, and if anything happens and they try and roll, you just sweep over straight away into a mounted position. So I think you've got more control from that second guillotine that you mentioned,
Mhm.
the leg on top. I find there's nothing that I prefer. You know, I every submission that I go to, is more of a momentary thing, you know. Um, Whichever one at that time feels right, I go for, you know. Um, I know that if you go against someone like Andrew Leone, he likes that second guillotine where he's more side on, one leg over, one leg under, and he's got a deeper angle on the guillotine because instead of putting his forearm in your throat, he kind of and like right into your esophagus. It's kind of cutting out the blood from both sides of your neck,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's the one that can actually put you to sleep a lot quicker.
Yeah, just like Uriah Faber.
Yeah, exactly. Uriah Faber is the man with guillotines. You know, he does one-armed guillotines that no one will ever forget. Dominic Cruz.
All right, for this last one, Ilil Lafiti, is that an anaconda choke
I
or is
think
it a neck crank?
it's a neck crank. Uh, I listen. I don't know too much
Mm-hmm.
about that. I would call that a neck crank. Not so much an anaconda choke because it does really look like he's about to rip Cyril's head off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd call that a neck crank all day. Yeah, but hey, I'm a fan of neck cranks. I'm a fan of twisters. So neck cranks are cool with me. I thought it was a pretty cool submission as well. You know, I'm sad for Cyril. I like watching him fight, but I don't think was there a punch thrown in that fight.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I don't like to see in fights. I like to see at least, even if you hit the floor, I like to see a few significant strikes. I think that was one of the only fights with no significant strikes were thrown in a UFC fight.
Yep, that's true, man. Okay, cool main event of the evening. Michael Johnson, Melvin Gillard. You know, I started watching Gillard when he was a prospect in the UFC. Melvin the Crow Gillard back then in UFC Fight Night, but I don't know what's happening to this guy. Win, loss, 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 win, loss.
Uh, I think it looked like in that last fight he lost that fire that he always had in him. He's not the young assassin anymore. I don't think. You know, he honestly looked scared on the weekend. He didn't want to really engage.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a game plan to look for a counter, but if that's not working in the second or third round, grow a set of nuts and go for it.
Yeah,
You
because
know?
I was expecting Gillard and Johnson to just both go at it, but it was all Johnson all day.
Man, Johnson stepped up, kind of gone to another level since he's been at the Black Zillions.
Mm-hmm.
He's really digging the Dutch Muay Thai style, and yeah, I think that's benefited him a lot. I don't think Gillard would be scared of him or scared of anything that he does. I just think it was real lackluster, and he just didn't look like he had that fire anymore. You know, got to remember the guy's had I think over 50 fights or 50 fights.
Yep.
You know, and after 50 fights, could get pretty tired. It gets pretty repetitive, and yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't like seeing people retire, but then at the same time, I don't want to see people put in lackluster performances like that.
That's true. Main event of the evening: Jimmy Manuwa, Gustafsson. Basically, what you said. Gustafsson just going to destroy Manuwa, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I did say that in watching the fight, though. Man, I saw. See, you looked at Gustafsson's intentions at the start, and I think that it was actually a really good game plan. He wanted to get Manoa to the floor
Mm-hmm.
and tire him out a bit, and then when they got back up, he wanted Manoa to think about the takedown, you know, be worried about the takedown so he wouldn't let his hands go as hard, but he's already a bit tired, you know. Manoa's like a jacked up, ripped up light heavyweight. You know, he looks like he's in incredible shape, but I think with all that muscle that he's got, he probably isn't. And I think Gustafsson wanted to kind of exploit that. Now he got him thinking about the takedown, and he set up his own knockout. You know, great performance by Gustafsson, and yeah, like I said, he walked through him. It was a big step up for Jimmy Manuwa. You know, good on him for taking the fight, but I think it was a bit too early in his UFC career to fight a veteran of the UFC and, in my opinion, the real light heavyweight champ, Gustafsson.
Yeah, I was quite tickled by Gustafsson's celebration somersault, but he was at the post fight interview. He was really up there. He wanted the title shot, and Dana White already says that whoever wins Jones Teixeira will fight Gustafsson for the title.
But see, would that have happened if Manoa won?
Manuel wouldn't get the title shot.
Yeah, see, that then to me that's not a number one contender thing. You know what they did? They wanted to see the rematch,
Uh huh.
but at the same time they wanted to see Glover versus um, Bones. So what they did, they threw Manoa into the deep end. Now I don't know how many unless we've heard it becoming a very apparent lately. Fighters turning down fights in the UFC, like Alistair Overeem and all these guys turning down fights. I don't think Manoa was in a position to turn down a fight in the UFC once he's already there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I know he turned down the UFC earlier on in his career, and he thought that once I'm in the UFC, I want to be able to fight everyone. But to chuck Jimmy Manoa into that fight after fighting Ryan Jimmo was really, really, really terrible job by Sean Shelby or Joe Silva, whoever put that fight together. Terrible job, guys. Not a good fight. I thought it was a bit unfair on Manoa. I don't think he got a good opportunity to kind of develop as a fighter in the UFC. Hopefully he comes back bigger and better from this.
All right, since you are talking about that, Will Chope, Diego Brandao, I believe that's kind of related, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like to say it, but I think the UFC, I hate to say it like this, Will Chope is an awesome guy, very nice guy, and he's a good fighter, you know. His record speaks for itself. He had something like 14 wins in a row, you know, and his physical presence is something always to deal with. He can choke you out from weird positions and things like that. And he's a tough guy. Will Chope is a fighter, but to see someone like Diego, I think, in my opinion, Diego is a killer. He's a one-round killer. So I think it's kind of 50-50. I think if Diego loses this fight, he's leaving town and his UFC career is over. And I think it's the same for Will Chope. They're kind of saying to him, man, you don't win this fight, you're going to get the cut too. So I think, but they've invented this fight in a way that Diego can stick around and will get the boot because for a second UFC fight to verse someone like Diego Brandao is a tough task. He just lost to forgot his name again.
Max Holloway?
Yeah, he just lost to Max Holloway, and coming off a loss and then going on to Diego Brandao, that's not a step down in competition. If anything, you've stepped up in competition. You know what I mean? Like Diego's a black belt in BJJ. He's a feared striker. He hits hard. He may be a midget, and he may be a midget, and he may be only good for one round. But I think that guy is dangerous, and I think that, in my opinion, they've thrown Will Chope to the wolves.
All right, just slightly going back off topic. Last week when we were talking about TF China finale, we actually forgot about Alberto Mina.
Yeah.
You heard the story. Zach Cummings did not come at weight. He was 8 pounds overweight, and Mina actually turned down that fight.
Yeah. See, like I said, Alberto Mina is a very, 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 very great fighter. Now, I think that the mistake, I don't think any blame should be put on Alberto Mina or his camp.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to Zach Cummins. 8 pounds over is ridiculous. That it's 8 pounds over, I think it's like 3.5 kilos or something. It's not small because if he's got that and he hasn't lost as much as say Alberto Mina. Who Alberto Mina is not a big. I think he's a welterweight. He's not a big welterweight.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not a big welterweight. Now, if we remember when Alberto Mina fought Glenn Spav, he fought Glenn Spav at Rebel. Now, Glenn Spav is huge. He is massive for a welterweight. And Glenn Spav had to be taken to the hospital and checked because of how much weight he lost. But he made weight, I think, in the end. For him to fight someone 8 pounds over, it's not the UFC's fault. It's not Alberto Mina's fault. It comes down to Zach Cummins' fault. Now, he turned down the fight, which I think, in my opinion, is a smart choice that not many people would have made. And I don't know if that would have been favorable with the UFC, but like I said, in this situation, Alberto Mina made weight. He did his. Our job is to before fight is to make weight.
Mm-hmm.
He made weight and he did what he had to do. And I'm sure the UFC weren't too happy about him not taking on the fight, but those were his options, and he's smart. He's 10-0, and he wants to keep that O on his record. I would have liked to see a bit more self-belief from Alberto to be angry and say, fuck it, let's do this. You know, I'm going to make you pay for not making weight.
Like Poirier and Brandao?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. You know, you want to see guys make him pay for that. I've fought with guys that have been overweight, and I've just kind of tapped them on the shoulder and been like, whatever. You know, but at a professional level, at a UFC level, it's not right. And it's a bad thing on our sport as well. I think that if that happens again, Zach Cummins should be cut. I think guys like John Lineker should be in a lot more trouble than they have been. You know, I don't think a deduction in purse really matters to them as long as they're winning. I think that if it happens again with Zach Cummins, he should be out of the UFC. I don't even know if he might even be out of it because 8 pounds is no joke. And Zach Cummins isn't Anthony Rumble Johnson, who everyone wants to see. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about Zach Cummins. You know, I could not care if Zach Cummins is not someone I tune in to watch. The only thing I want to see with him is his big jaw get punched. You know, he's got this wide jaw that just sticks out. You know, it looks like Mr. Incredible or something, and you just want to hit him. But that's the only reason I'd want to watch him get fight. Alberto Mina does, in a way, not make it up to the UFC, but he needs to show the UFC it's not that he was scared. He was just making a wise choice for his career that he's looking out for. And I know he blamed, because I have Alberto on Facebook. He said it was his camp,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe it probably was his camp. You know, usually it's the coach saying nah, but I personally wouldn't have done 8 weeks of preparation or anything if the UFC was there. I wouldn't say no to a fight, and he said no, which could show his maturity or stupidity or whatever it is. He made the right choice for him to sleep well at night, and you got to praise the guy. You got to praise the guy for saying no and not getting bullied into that situation.
No, how about you? If let's say there's an upcoming fight and someone does not make weight, will you just take the fight or will you avoid it?
Of course I will. You know, like that doesn't mean um, anyone who's listening to this,
Mm-hmm.
don't think that you cannot make weight and I'll still fight you. I'm gonna take your money. If we're fighting as an amateur, I'm gonna break your face. You know, and that's how it is. The professional fighters are compensated for it. Whether it's with their purse or something. Hey, if you're fighting a guy for $8,000 and you take 20% of his purse, an extra $1,000 or whatever it is in your pocket helps.
Yep.
You know, that money is gold to them. And at the end of the day, I listen to people like Charles Sonnen in this situation. When you see a guy on the street and you're gonna fight, you don't push the guy away and say, hey, look how big you are. At the end of the day, you fight. You know, you have guys hopping around weight divisions and like things like that. I'm not too really worried about that. But 8 pounds is not a little amount of weight. It's not. 2-3 pounds over. Yeah, that's one thing. 4 pounds, 5 pounds beyond measurable. 8 pounds is ridiculous.
All right,
I,
man.
for me, I'll fight. So if listen, if
Mm-hmm.
this ever happens again, right? Not the UFC. I couldn't give a shit about the UFC. This ever happens, and I'm in Thailand, Singapore, or someone, and someone can't make weight, give me a call. I'm sure I'll cut one of my legs off to fight you guys. I would love to fight. You know what? I know I had an article written on me this weekend, and I had a few things said about like my taking fights on short notice and things like that. And it said it kind of worries me a bit that I don't take it as serious. But there's no fight I love more than a short notice fight. Um, I can go in there a lot more relaxed. And you know what? I think to myself, no one expects anything from me or anything like that. I like the short notice thing because when you're short notice, you're an underdog, and that's when no pressure's on you and all the pressure's on the other guy who's been training hard for 8 weeks and gotten physically prepared. And I love upsetting that person, you know. It's a good feeling to rely on my skills. I know that that's not always gonna get me through, but it's still good. I like short notice fights, so it doesn't ever worry me. I never say, listen, I need more time to prepare for that guy. I'll fight. Fighting's fun. If someone came into my gym and said they wanted to fight me, I'd tell them sign a waiver, put your headgear on, and let's fight.
You
But
guys got such a waiver in ATT?
huh?
Do you guys have such a contract waiver
Oh,
at ATT?
not like that type of waiver,
Uh-huh.
but you come into the gym, obviously there's your sign up form and that comes with a waiver. Obviously that MMA is a sport where a lot of people do get injured. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, a lot of people do get injured. So we do have the waiver. So, and we have a lot of guys, and this some people will take this the wrong way,
Mhm.
but we have a lot of guys that come in and they say they want to try out the classes, and we have like a week free membership here. So you come in for a week, but they sign the forms. Now, when they sign the forms, the funniest thing to see is that we give the guys a schedule. Now, we have advanced jiu-jitsu, beginners jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, boxing. We have all these different classes, right?
Mhm.
And then we have the MMA sparring. And I love it when guys straight away want to try that out. And I warn them before they get into the class. I'm like, listen, the MMA sparring is more for fighters. And they tell me that they've trained at other gyms and so on and so forth. So I make sure they've signed that waiver. I put them in the class, and everyone knows that they're beginners. But afterwards, they never want to do that class again. You know, I don't know what's with some people. Some guys come into my gym and they want to sign a waiver and they want to pay like a casual visit. They don't want to go on a membership,
Mhm.
and they ask if they can just spar. And I asked them if they've ever trained or anything before, and if they tell me no, or if I realize they haven't, I turn them away, and I say, listen, it's not like our fighters, because they want to join our fighters sparring. We have sparring for the fighters, and then we have sparring in our classes, which is cool. But I tell them they got to do a class before they start sparring. It's a dangerous thing, and a lot of fighters, it kind of pisses us off that people think that they can just come and jump in and do it all. But it does happen. But yeah, I don't mind showing a few guys what we do is real. I don't ever hurt anyone. I don't ever go hard on anyone. But I make sure that the person I'm sparring against, or more so the person I'm rolling against, I let them know that whatever I'm learning at my gym, whatever is being taught, is effective. And that's the thing with jiu-jitsu. When we roll, I teach the guys things, but I let them roll, and then I show them what we're learning and why we're learning, and my techniques. So yeah, I don't know. I got a bit off topic there, but
No,
that's what.
but it's great, man. The thing is, it's true. I've seen guys who think that they could hang with people who have trained for months or even years, and they would just come to the gyms and think that, I think I would like to spar, I would like to go, and 3 minutes up, they are lying on the floor, they don't know what the fuck just happened, and they won't come back again.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny you say that. I had a guy that came in here and a few weeks ago, and he walked in the gym, and before he walked in the gym, he stood at the door of the gym. Now, we don't allow people to smoke out the front of our gym.
Uh-huh.
It's public property, but when you sign up to my gym, it pretty much means that if there's an instructor here, you're listening to him and you listen to the rules that we go by. If there's a random person that's standing in front and smoking in front of my gym,
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say anything. But if it's one of our guys that have signed up, I tell them leave, go down the road, or do something because I don't like it. Um, so what happened was there was a guy that was smoking out the front of our gym, and he was kind of looking in, and then so I didn't really say anything at the start, and then he put out a cigarette and he came in and he goes, "Oh, I want to do a class."
Okay.
And then I go, "Yeah, what were you interested in?" And he goes, "Oh, he wanted to do some kickboxing." I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. So he jumped into the class, and the second he jumped onto the mats,
Mm-hmm.
he started eyeballing everyone.
Wow.
Just like really, I could see on his face, and he wasn't a small guy either, and he looked intimidating to a few people, and a few tattoos and things like that. And he just started eyeballing everyone, and I knew that he would be trouble. So I wasn't in the class. I just kind of sat on the side and let the class kind of flow and saw it all. And he was training, and then always at the end of our kickboxing class, there's about 15 minutes, and they all do like a bit of light sparring. Light sparring. He says to everyone at the sparring, 10 to 30% maximum. 30%. If he goes, if I hear any hits, any loud slaps of kicks or anything, you're off the mats.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy came into the class, and he was a beginner, but he would have been about maybe 90, 95 kilos.
All right.
And he wasn't small, and I saw him going, and the first person he was matched up with was a female in our class. And like when they were sparring, it just so happened that he ended up, like when they partnered up, the only two people were two females left, a female and him. I see them sparring, and as I'm watching, I see this guy go for the biggest haymaker I've ever seen in my life. It looked like Chuck Liddell wanted to knock Tito Ortiz's head off.
All right.
And he just started going hard. And as soon as it happened, I was like, whoa, relax, take it easy. And he was like, "Oh, sorry, man, I didn't realize." And that's the thing. Beginners sometimes don't realize how hard they're going because they've never been put in that environment.
Oh.
Now, he started again, and he went all right for a few seconds, and the girl hit him,
Mhm.
and he just tried to do the same thing again and tried to overpower and run at the girl. And I stood back for a second, and I just told the instructor at the time what was happening, and he came and he broke it up, and he was like, he had a little chat with him, and he was like, it's a girl, you don't need to try and knock her head off. She's about 55 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
Be a bit nicer. And then they were about to match up the next pair of people, and I, on purpose, went and grabbed Amy Adam. And I grabbed Amy Adam, I swear, and I pushed her.
Uh-huh.
I pushed her towards this guy.
Uh-huh.
And I'm standing behind the guy, and like, I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me, and I'm trying to tell her, hit this guy, like punish him, because that's the only way sometimes a person will be humbled,
Uh-huh.
not by being punished by someone bigger than them, but being punished by someone smaller and sometimes a girl, because like I said, some of these girls that are fighting can beat up the guys. And I know that Amy's tough, so I put her up against him, and she felt a bit bad at the start. They were going tit for tat, like they were going real light, and then she kind of, I think, got him with a stiff jab, and then the hard right hand started coming, and I saw our kickboxing instructor walking towards him to say something, and I stopped him, and I go, no, let it go, and he started swinging for the fences, and literally, you just see Amy slipped about 5 of his punches and laughed at him so bad, right? This guy was so embarrassed. The guy threw an overhand and hit the floor. Like, he just started stumbling to the floor. he didn't land one punch on Amy, and Amy hadn't thrown anything. And then he looked at, there was like a minute and a half left in the round, and he got up and he looked at Amy and he goes, "Oh, I'm a bit tired." And I came onto the mats and I go, "Nah, no getting tired." I go, "Go." Amy looks at me, she goes, "Are you sure?" I go, "Yeah." Amy beat the crap out of him for the last minute of that spar. Like, I'm telling you, this guy had to keep telling her to stop because she was just beating him up. And like I said, Amy's 58 kilos. She walks around at 58 kilos. This guy was at least 90 to 95 kilos, right? And she made him like a little, like, she beat him up like he was a little girl. You know what I mean? It was great to see. It was cool for that guy to get a bit of a reality check. And then after that, I didn't really see him going hard on too many people. I saw him trying to reserve his gas tank, and it was good to watch. You know?
Oh, you don't mess with Amy Adams, man.
Ah, you don't, man. That girl hits hard. Yeah, she's punched me in the face a few times, and it's not fun. You know, like a lot of guys, and myself included, we sometimes take the girls lightly, and we don't do what we would do with the guys. But someone like Amy, tough as hell, you don't focus for 1 second, she'll hit you with an overhand and make you bleed. Not fun.
All right, man. I think Nick Harris bailed out on me. I don't know where the hell he is. He told me that he wants to come on the show to pick some fights for ONE FC War of Nations. But anyways, I still have Suman. I'm not too sure whether you know all the fighters on the card. So
No, a few.
Yep. So do you know Harry Sarmiento versus Herbert Burns?
Yes. I was actually looking forward to you asking me about this. Man, Harris has had something like 50 fights.
Yep.
Yeah, and his opponent has had two.
Yep.
Two amateur fights. Now, that's a tall order for anyone to take on. You know, I don't know if his team has big raps on him for being 2-0 and wanting to fight a 50-fight veteran. Harris is good, and I think that I say this often, but I think experience is a big thing, especially in a world stage. I think, you know, you never count out the underdog, but experience does play a big part, and I think that will be a one-sided fight to Harris.
No, but Herbert Burns is a no-gi grappling world champion.
Yeah, but that's no-gi grappling. You know, we are at the same time are in MMA. You know, what's the old saying? Hit a black belt once, he'll turn into a brown belt. Hit him again, he'll turn into a purple belt.
Yep, it's
and
true.
and you never know those guys. Some of those grapplers, man, they're tough as hell, and they get in on it. But you never know until they're tested. And this will be a big test for young Herbert Burns in this. And when I say young, I mean young in the sense of his fighting career. It will be a good test for him. Like I said, on those stages, you don't, on ONE FC and things, you don't really pick and choose your opponent. I think it's still going to be a competitive fight. Herbert can pull off the submission, and Harris could, you know, out experience him if he gets out of a few of those submissions early on. It might. What happens with Herbert? Does he crumble and not know what to do from there, or, you know, it'll be good to see an inexperienced fighter who has world grappling credentials against an experienced veteran.
All right. Next up, Wakauma versus Peter Davis. I don't know if you saw the article we posted. Usman Habib saying that someone's modeling career will be at risk. Where do you think this fight will go?
In modeling?
Nah, because Peter Davis is a
Seriously?
model actor in Malaysia.
Yeah, Peter Davis is cool as hell too. Listen, if anyone's a model, it is not. I know what Usman Habib was saying. He was saying like Peter Davis's modeling career is at risk, but he's saying one person's modeling career is at risk. Don't ever try and say Waka Usman is a model. Waka was the one who put an open call out, right?
Yep.
And then didn't fight
Ian
Ian Enti.
Yep.
Yeah. Nah, Ian's cool. Ian's PTT. So after Waka loses his fight, he can go and fight Ian and lose to Ian as well. Peter Davis will win this fight.
All
And
right.
like I don't even want to comment on it.
Uh-huh.
I don't even want to comment on it because I don't know, like I don't see too much from Waka, you know, and I'm not impressed.
All right
And
then. That's up to 14 March for him to prove. Next fight, Boku
prove me
Lepon.
wrong. I like it when people prove me wrong.
All right. Next fight, Boku Lepon.
Oh man. Okay. I knew that one was coming. Laporte is a great fighter,
Uh-huh.
tough as hell guy. Think I'm gonna have to go with Boku for this one.
By
Um,
knockout.
yeah. I don't know. I just like Arnold's a great fighter, you know, great guy and everything. But I don't know. For some reason the way when I've been watching these two fight, I think Boku's gonna get the knockout.
All right, man. As I said, I just don't care who wins. I just want to see them staying
Yeah,
and bang in the
it's gonna
pocket, and that's it.
it's gonna be one of those fights. Exactly that. You're gonna see two guys get in there and trade. But usually when we want to see that fight, someone shoots for a takedown. So let's see who's the smart man and shoots for a takedown. Because uh, uh, like as much as I like to see it,
Mm-hmm.
don't take my words out of context. I don't like to see it. As much as I like to see two guys get in there and test themselves, which I call a dick measuring contest, to see
Okay.
who's got a big dick or something.
Uh-huh.
As much as that's cool to watch for everyone, I like to see guys come in with a game plan, and game plans go in. So I don't know. Are these guys gonna train their cardio and just wish to stand toe to toe and kill each other and flip a coin, or are they gonna come in with a game plan?
Yeah, I think they're going to stand in the pocket for a while, and Anand going to try and shoot for the takedown, but whether or
Yeah,
not he will be
if I see
successful.
if I see anyone shooting in this fight, it's Arnold,
Yep.
and I think that's his best bet.
All right. Next up, Andrew Leone, Shinichi Kojima.
All right, let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like I said, I'm a PTT guy as well. You know,
Yep.
I support all the PTT guys. Andrew Leone is legit on the floor. Like he's amazing on the floor, and he's a tough as hell guy. And I know that you and him don't see eye to eye. I was saying I know you and him don't see eye to eye.
uh-huh.
And you know what? I was actually really surprised by what Andrew had wrote,
Uh-huh.
and and I think we'll just take it as constructive criticism.
Yep.
Um, but he's a very nice guy. You know, if you ever see him in person, he's the type of guy who goes out of his way to say hi to you and help you as well. He's a great teacher. And he's one of the coaches at PTT. He's a great wrestler, and his BJJ game is great. You know, his control, his BJJ control is something that I think is going to win him this fight. You know, and I'm not just saying that because he's a PTT guy. I see him just taking this fight to the floor and controlling and dominating. You know, I think he's a legit guy. I know he's not as experienced as his brother or anything like that, but I think Andrew is real good. You know, I think out of the two brothers, they're both awesome. I rolled with Andrew a bit more, so I got to feel what he was made of, and I tell you, if I fought him, I know how that fight goes. He's good. You know, I'd be worried about his ground.
All right, man. I believe.
Because if someone was stupid enough to shoot on him, I'm telling you right now, they're gonna get their neck ripped off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Kojima would try to shoot on Andrew Leone.
If he tries to shoot on Andrew Leone, he better worry about that guillotine. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna put him in two minds. Andrew has one of the best guillotines of any guy I've rolled with. He's so calm, so relaxed in the way he rolls, and his position is great. You know, Andrew's a great purple belt, and I think that he could catch anyone. You know, he scrambles well. His scrambles, because of his wrestling base as well, are amazing.
All right. Next up, Ariel Sexton, Kamal Shoulderus. I don't know if you know much about Ariel Sexton. He's a BJJ black belt, and Kamal, we've seen Kamal fight in WEC, UFC, and he's a great wrestler. So where do you think this fight will go? Wrestler versus jiu-jitsu practitioner.
It, it is a wrestler versus BJJ practitioner, but I think that Kamal's going to use his wrestling in reverse to try and keep it standing and throw these hammers, throw bombs, as some people are. He throws everything into every punch that he's got, and it'll be a good fight to see. I think Ariel moves a lot better than obviously Kamal. He's not as stiff, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I think that if it does land on the floor, Ariel does have the advantage. You know, I think he's a good black belt. Um, I'm gonna watch this fight as a fan more than anything. I do know who Ariel Sexton is, and he's an amazing fighter. And so is Kamal. Kamal is actually from my native country, Iran.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't worry too much about that. The only Iranian person I like is myself. You know, I don't really care for them too. People can say what they want, but there's a reason. I'm as much as I've got an Iranian background. I'm an Australian through and through. You know, Australia is my country, and people would be like, "Oh, aren't you going for Kamal?" And you know, I've had people in my gym say that, "Aren't you going for Kamal?" Like, nah, man. You know, it doesn't make a difference to me where you're from. I don't have to back you up. I think that Ariel will. You know what? I don't know. Who would you consider the favorite in this situation?
Kamal, obviously, with all the
Yeah,
experience he have, and he
yeah,
he beat Folayang last time in ONE FC, and Folayang is
yeah,
tough, dude.
yeah. Like I would see him as the favorite in this situation too. But I don't count Ariel out. I think Ariel can pull off the upset.
All right, so in the end, Ariel for the upset, or Kamal
Yeah,
for the
I'm
win.
gonna take Ariel for the upset. And in saying that, I just really like his name, Ariel. I don't know. It sounds like I don't know. When I say Ariel, it's like someone's gonna come with some type of attack that I've never heard of. Yeah. It's cool. It's just a cool name in general. Like I don't have an interesting name. Ariel Sexton is a cool name to have. You know, some people have these awesome first names and last names. And man, if I could, like, if I was speaking to my dad or something, I'd turn around to him and say, "Man, why the hell did you name me Saman Mukhtar?" Like, I don't know, man. Like, I've had a lot of nicknames. I've had a lot of nicknames growing up, and Ariel probably had a few too, but I'm sure he's the one laughing now. I'm not saying it's the coolest shit name, you know. How many people have you ever met named Saman?
Oh, zero. But how many people have you met named Hazwadi?
See, is that your first name though? No.
Nah, my first name Muhammad, of course everyone knows, but Hazwadi nobody knows, man.
Yeah, see, that's your last name. See, your last name could be anything. Your first name, see, like, I like the name Mohammed.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a great name, but I'm saying like Ariel's not like the type of name. See, Mohammed, if you've ever seen Superbad, you see Mohammed
Yeah.
is the most common name in the world.
Yep.
Right? There's many people named Mohammed, so it's a common thing. So not, and you know what? I don't think anyone's disrespectful enough to say anything or make fun of the name.
Uh-huh.
You know, so I think people would stay quiet about that one. But see a name like Ariel, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure he got teased a bit, and then he kind of flipped over and kicked someone in the head and took him out, choked him out. See, I didn't have that pleasure when I was younger. I've only been in the sport for 2 years now. You know, I wish when I was in high school, I was like a BJJ green belt or something. When I was like 13 or 14, I was a green belt. If I was a green belt in BJJ or like I was a yellow belt in karate, no one would have fucked with me. Said bad things about my name. You know, I had a Facebook page dedicated to how many nicknames I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Don't look for it. You know, my friends invented one, and I got a lot of nicknames, man.
Oh, I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah, and they just kind of all go off like my first name. Like no one says anything about my last name. It's the first name. Because in Australia, people call me instead of Saman, people call me Suman.
Uh-huh.
So Suman, Booman, Schumann, you know, Pooman. You know, people say, and you know what? I actually got used to it after a while. You know,
Oh,
I got used to it. It's alright. You know, people can make fun of me.
yeah.
If they come onto the mats, I'll check them out.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. Next up, Adriano Moraes, Yoshihiro Urishitani. I love this guy, Mikinyo. He fought with Yusop in the last 1FC in KL. Fight of the night. Totally great. Yusop won that fight. And Urishitani was from the UFC. So, where do you think this fight will go?
Man, how do you, I can't pronounce his name.
Which one? Urishitani?
Yeah, Yuri Shitani.
Yep.
That's it. See, I get tongue tied. You know, I get tongue tied. I can't say his name. If you don't remember, when he came into the UFC,
Mhm.
people had big raps on him. You know, from all his days in Shudo and things like that. And I think that those two UFC losses that he had were his only losses in the last, I don't know, 10 fights or something.
Yep.
You know, and you gotta remember, he versed Joseph Benavidez in his first UFC fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now he may have been TKO'd, but jumping in there with someone as skilled as Joseph, you know, you're gonna reap some benefits out of it. Um, and I see Yuri Shitani with the win for this fight. I think he's too experienced, fought against some crazy guys at a high level as well. And I see him getting his hand raised.
Yeah, I still feel Urishitani is still at least top 15 flyweights in the
Yeah,
world right now, isn't it?
he is top 15, easily top 15. You know, I think he's just on the cusp of that top 10 still. He's still relevant in the world flyweight division. You know, I think he's still one of the top flyweights out there, so it'll be good.
All right, next up, Kevin Bellingham and Daewon Kim both came out from a knockout win. Kevin Bellingham is considered a lot of fighters are actually considering him, even though there are quite a few fighters in UFC, Filipino fighters in UFC right now. People are considering him the best pound for pound Filipino fighter in the world right now. And Daewon Kim is skyrocketing Korean, winning almost everything by finishing TKOs or knockout. So where do you think this fight will go?
Did you say he's the best Filipino fighter
Yeah,
there is?
some considered him as the best pound for pound MMA fighter in the world, Filipino.
Oh, Filipino.
Yep.
Okay. Did you know
Mm-hmm.
that Robert Lasita is from the Philippines?
I didn't know that.
Oh, he's actually half Filipino.
Whoa.
That's actually what. That's a little inside joke. Rob will know about that.
All right.
Rob will know about that. That's actually why he's a one FC fighter. You know, he got it. I'm sure if I was half Filipino, I would have got it. I'm just joking. But if we were going to talk about that, Rob Lasita would probably be pound for pound the best Filipino fighter in the world. But yeah, if you look at them on paper, you're gonna say that this is gonna be a barn burner. And the opponent, Kim,
Uh-huh.
is he 9-0 or 10-0?
Yep, 9-0.
9-0-1,
Mm.
right? Yeah, and all 9 wins by KO or TKO.
Yes.
Ah man, I didn't get to. I saw that and I was like, should I look at these guys' records and see if they were legitimate opponents or anything like that? Because I haven't watched him fight before,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I looked at that and I'm like, man, anyone who hasn't slipped up and knocked out 9 guys in a row must be doing something right. So I saw that. I think it's a pretty dangerous fight for Kevin, but I think Kevin is more well-rounded by the looks of things. I actually haven't seen either fighter fight, but on paper this looks like a pretty evenly matched fight. And yeah, I would like to see. Kevin's from Team Lacko, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Those guys are legit. They've got a good camp, especially over there. So yeah, I think it'll be a good fight. Again, I'm just gonna sit back, watch this as a fan, more than a critic. I am going to go.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick someone, listen, I'm just gonna go based on a record. If I see 9 knockouts from 9 fights or something, I'm gonna go for that. I'm gonna go for another upset. Just because I heard you guys saying that he's the best Filipino guy, it upset me. People speaking that way and not recognizing Rob Lucida. So,
Oh,
you
come
know,
on.
I'm
Everyone
not too happy about it.
recognizes Rob as an Australian and not as a Filipino.
Oh, no. He is an Australian. He is
Yeah.
an Australian. He's got some Filipino blood in him. You should ask him about that. So, you know what you should say to him? Say, I didn't know you were Filipino. See what he says.
All right.
Um, Post it on his wall.
All right. I'll post it on his wall.
Yeah.
All right. Last fight. Suzuki Larson. Nobutatsu Suzuki came out of a knockout win from Phil Baroni. Brock Larson won a decision win over Melvin Manhoff. Suzuki got knockout power. Larson got great wrestling. 5 rounds. Welterweight championship. Who will win? While I'll post a question to Rob Lucita on his wall.
So Suman told me you're a Filipino. Okay. For this main event, man, like I said, Brock Larson versus Melvin Manhoff.
Uh-huh.
Any guy who has the nuts to jump in with Melvin Manhoff and take it to him has my respect well and truly earned. Now, his opponent, forgot his name again, Boku.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
Nobutatsu Suzuki.
See these names. I'm just gonna call him Suzuki because
Yeah, Suzuki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually watched a bit of video on him because I've never watched him fight live or anything, and I think he definitely has the advantage in the striking of a Brock Larson, but I think Brock Larson is a really really smart and grinding fighter, and you know people may say that you know the fight every round starts standing and Suzuki can catch him and this and that. If you cannot get caught by Melvin Manhoff and grind him out, I'm sure he can grind out Suzuki. I'm gonna pick Brock Larson for the win. I think his wrestling is far too strong, and his ground game is far too strong for Suzuki. I see him finishing the fight in the second or third round, by maybe actually, you know what? I'm gonna try and be specific. I'm gonna say rear naked choke second or third round.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
And if Brock wins this, it's a one-way highway to Ben Askren. I believe it will be in May in Singapore.
And that's when I'll stop watching ONE FC.
No chance whatever for Larson. Okay, he's 36 years old, but I don't know. No chance, whatever for Larson to try and get an upset win over Askren.
Uh, I hope someone gets an upset win over Askren. Listen, Askren is a great wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
a great grappler. You know, his BJJ game's alright. You know, but more than anything, his wrestling game, his top game, his pressure is incredible. I'm so upset that ONE FC would sign him. You know, like I think, in my opinion, ONE FC is exciting as shit to watch. I love watching ONE FC. Some people, I'm not gonna say who, will be upset me saying that, but ONE FC is exciting to watch. And I think that one of the more exciting organizations bringing one of the more boring fighters in the world over doesn't and having him fight for your title isn't good. I think Ben Askren's gonna go in, he's gonna win, and he's gonna make the welterweight division of ONE FC so shit. You know, fuck. I just hope. Again, I'm gonna bring him up just because he's my boy. I hope Rob Lucida goes back to welterweight and kicks him square in the fucking nuts. I hate Ben Askren, man.
Okay.
You know what? If I ever met him, I'll tell him to his face, you are fucking boring. I may be a lot shitter than you. You may beat me up. You may hump the shit out of my leg, and you might get your hand raised. But listen, no one likes you. I don't like your hair. I don't like the way you fight. I don't like you. And if I was a welterweight or anything like that, I would love to get in the ring. And you know what? I'll lose. I will lose.
Uh,
But just to punch you in the face once, will be great.
like a personal
Uh,
achievement, isn't it?
it would be a personal achievement to punch the shit out of Ben Askren once. Like I said, he'll eat that punch. He'll take me down. He'll hump my leg. He'll choke me out, or just lay and pray on me like he does on everyone else. But you know what? Everyone who watches that fight is gonna say, you know what? Ben Askren's a dick. He's ugly. If you're listening, Ben Askren, fuck you. Like I said, hey, everything I say is I'm no expert in MMA. And everyone knows this. I'm no expert. People are gonna say what they want to say, but I'm speaking on this show as a fan more than anything. Forget that I own a gym or I've fought before, because really, in my eyes, that's not a big deal. I haven't achieved a lot. I haven't done a lot. And Ben Askren's going to say, who are you, you piece of shit, Arab with a beard? I could not care for you. My country shits on yours, or, yeah, how does it feel? My country invaded yours, or he'll say some stuff like that, And it might hurt my feelings just a little bit. But you know what? When he goes home and one day has to show his grandkids that that's him fighting, I'm sure one of his grandkids is gonna say, "Then how did you make mum?" What he seems to be doing is wanting to make love to men. Him trying to tell the birds and the bees story to his kids is gonna be an interesting one. If he ever tries to say how he ever made his kids, he's gonna probably turn on all his last Bellator fights and said, "That's you. That's how I made you." He humped another man's leg, Yeah, I think he's gay as shit. And you know what? I hope he hears that, and one day I cross paths with him and he's like, "Hey, man, I heard what you said. You know what I'm going to say? I don't care. Just don't hump me." You know what? I'll verse you, Askren. I'll verse you to like a boxing or a kickboxing match or something. I don't know. Just don't touch me. I would feel like if Ben Askren touched me, I'd feel violated. I'd feel like oh nah, not happening. He would have a great time in jail.
Oh.
He'd have a great time in jail. And in saying all this again, I say, Ben, if you're listening, I know you do what you have to do to win, and no one can say anything. You are a great wrestler. I saw you get your ass kicked by Marcelo Garcia on YouTube, and that was cool. I saw you get choked your ass out and learn how to defend the guillotine, buddy. Yeah. Oh, Marcelo team.
Oh man, Marcelo Garcia, my idol in BJJ.
Yeah.
Alright, man. Anything else you want to talk about Ben Askren? Because that was some hilarious shit, man.
Ben Askren's alright. Who else is there to talk shit about? I don't know. Listen. I don't care. Like, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm talking shit and I'm speaking out of line and all these things, and oh yeah, who the hell are you to talk like this?" Listen, I'm a fan talking like this. There's people I like, there's people I don't like. Yeah, like I said, if Melvin Manhoff walked in front of me, I'll shake that man's hand. I'll spend every cent in my pocket to take that guy out, buy him as many drinks as he wants. If he wanted a bottle of steroids or something, I would get that for him. I'd be like, "Man, let me talk to some. I'll organize something for you in Australia." Like all that stuff. There's guys that I really respect and love watching fight. Ben just is one of those guys. I'm being a dick right now, and I'm being very rude and disrespectful. I understand that. I'm just having a bit of fun, and that's just my opinion. Ben. I'm not a fan of Ben. I'm not a fan of John Fitch.
Those lay and pray guys.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them. Just try and finish the fight. Try and finish it. If you were gassed, I could understand. All right, I've been in that position, guys. But if these guys have incredible cardio, they can do 5 rounds and look like they did nothing.
Yep.
Right. Try and finish the fight. Use a bit more effort, and try and be entertaining at the same time. we're in a business where, as much as winning is important, selling tickets is just as important. You know, selling pay-per-views is just as important. And I could not care. I would not waste a cent. I wouldn't waste my money buying like pay-per-view to watch Ben Askren. I wouldn't even waste my time to watch that ONE FC event. I'd probably turn off the ONE FC event before he got on. And that I hope that one day he shoots, misses his shot, and someone soccer kicks him. And I'm gonna personally write to Matt Hume or Victor Choi or someone.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say, listen, that was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Thank you for having soccer kicks just because I got to see Ben Askren get kicked in the head. Thank you very much. And again, Ben, please don't hump me. All I'm gonna say, man. All I'm gonna say.
Alright, bro. Whatever you said about Ben Askren, I totally agree. 90 to 95%. Those MMA fans who just have been watching UFC have or just been watching ONE FC doesn't know anything about Ben Askren. Watch him fight. Whatever someone says is true.
Does he have a highlight reel? Like that's a serious question. Like,
I'm gonna go check that out on YouTube,
I've
man.
seen every Bellator champion I've seen have a fucking. I've seen it just pop up. I've never typed Ben Askren's name into YouTube. If you go through my phone history, Ben Askren's name has never come up. I'm telling you, right? But when I look at the YouTube script, like on the side, you see other champions and other highlight reels come up. When have you ever seen Machine Man or some other like highlight reel company still will make a fucking highlight reel on Ben Askren? No. Like, that's a porno. I'm sure if you go to PornTube or RedTube or something, or one of the porn sites, you'll find a big picture of a guy with an ugly curly afro, right, on top of another dude. And that's something I'm not into.
Oh, man.
Hey, guys, if you ever want to actually watch Ben Askren fight, don't type his name into YouTube. Go into Google, type Ben Askren gay porn, and you will find it. You know. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get some death threats after this. Guys, please. I love wrestling. Like I said, I love wrestling. I love guys who come in there with a game plan. But I think your game plan should be to finish, not to hump.
I just love that death threat reference. But okay, enough of ONE FC. 171, UFC 171. This is the event I'm looking out for. Is welterweight mayhem. Basically, let's start with Jake Shields, Hector Lombard.
That is funny. All right. Jake Shields, man, he showed that his ground is legit. You know, and you know what? I'm not gonna say just it's legit because he beat Maya and beat him on the floor or whatever it was. Man, you gotta remember this guy has a win over another guy, Dan Henderson.
Yeah, at Strikeforce.
Yeah, exactly. And Henderson throws bombs. Henderson, you know, is the man. And he went through that. He got Henderson down. He dominated Henderson too. I think that if Shields wins, it's gonna be a boring fight. If Lombard wins, it's gonna be in the first 30 seconds of either round 1 or 2. I think that the first minute of a fight for Lombard is the scariest, right? And I think that Lombard needs to put it on him early. Lombard can't wait and let Jake Shields get into a rhythm of throwing retarded kicks or stupid striking that he has, you know. I find Lombard eventually finding his chin. I see Lombard putting him out, and then everyone talking about how Lombard should be in line for a title shot or something like that. I think Lombard wins as well. Lombard's a fellow kind of Australian. He's Cuban, but he's from Australia. You know, and I grew up watching someone like the Lombard fight on CFC and things like that. So I'd like to see him also get the win.
Okay, to tell you the truth, talking back, I remember watching Jake Shields win Dan Henderson, and I was really impressed by him. then found out that he's training with the Diaz brothers and Gilbert Melendez. But slowly, he doesn't fight like them at all.
He doesn't. He
Yeah,
fights like
it's a shame, isn't it? That you are
man.
in
Like
that training camp and you lay and pray.
I have a few people that have met him and trained with him, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say their name onto this, uh, just because I don't want to get anyone else in trouble. But I heard that he is horrible on the pads.
Oh,
I I heard that like seriously, he's stiff and just you wonder how that happens when you train with guys like Nick and Nate Diaz. And I think that Nick, Nate Diaz, Gilbert Melendez, all these guys were great boxers, you know, real good boxers,
yep.
and he's shit. I think it's just a fighter on preference, training how he wants to train. I think uh, Jake has found his style and he's adapted to that style. And I don't think no matter where he goes, or even if he didn't train with Nick and Diaz, I think he's going to stick to his style. And that's just, I think that's the best we're ever going to see of him. Grapple.
All right, next up, my favorite, my personal favorite, Diego Sanchez, Miles Jury.
Mm. I think Mars Jury's 4-0
Yeah,
in UFC. Yeah, and he's 12 or 13-0 overall.
yep.
Um, yeah, man, I've actually been watching Miles Jury for a fight for a while. He tried to get on to Tough a while ago, then he got his knee injured, then he came back onto Tough, and he did a good job, and he lost to what's his name?
Miles
Uh,
Jury.
no, Miles Jury lost on Tough to the guy that's in the UFC right now. He's with Team Sarah and Ray Longo. Like,
Who's that guy? Is it El Iaquinta?
yeah,
Ah,
Ali Quinta.
yeah.
He lost Ali Quinta in a fight that I thought he won. Could have gone either way. Um, but yeah, he had that fight with Ali Quinta, and he's just gotten better since he's come into the UFC. He is a really tall uh, lightweight, and I find him keeping Diego at the end of his punches. Really, I really do. I think Diego's style is going to get picked off. Miles Jury's boxing is real good. I don't think he's going to brawl with Diego, and I see Miles Jury winning this fight with a dominant decision.
Miles Jury by dominant decision. Because
Yeah,
basically, those who doesn't know much about Miles Jury, he beat Michael Johnson. He beat Ramsey Nijem, and these
that's right.
both, yeah, these guys are tough guys, and everybody knows Diego right now after that fight with Gilbert Melendez. But Miles Jury by unanimous decision, as said by
Let's
Simon
remember
Victorian.
what was Diego's fight before that. I think it was against uh, the Japanese dude.
Takanori Gomi.
Yeah, Takanori Gomi.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. See, I'm a big Takanori Gomi fan from Pride, you know, and watching that fight, I don't know, like, I just kind of watched Diego and just thought, man, unless someone brawls with him, he's not going to be exciting, you know. Takanori Gomi was throwing big shots at him and everything, but at the same time, he kind of picked him apart, and I actually thought that that fight went in the favor of Gomi.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's how I saw him winning that fight. And I think that Gilbert Melendez played into Diego Sanchez's style, and I think that's what kind of made it such an exciting fight. I think someone like Miles Jury is going to be a lot smarter than that. He seems like a very well-developed fighter for how young he is, and everything like that. I think he's going to be too smart to brawl with Diego, and like I said, he's gonna have a laser beam jab. Watch out for the jab of Miles Jury.
All right, and we'll see the jab because Diego is gonna try and sit in the pocket, but it's gonna his momentum is gonna get stopped by Miles Jury jab, isn't it?
Don't be surprised if you see a flying knee come towards Diego Sage's head. I'm a Diego fan, but actually I'm a big fan of Miles Jury as well, and I think it's his time to show that he's ready for those top 15 guys.
All right, next up, Carlos Condit, Tyron Woodley. Who will win this fight?
Now, I think if it passes the first round, Carlos will find his groove into the fight. Tyron Woodley will tire, and Carlos will get the win. I think that first round is dangerous, but I just see Carlos Condit winning this fight with a decision.
Yeah,
As
basically,
long,
basically, what you're trying to say is how Condit fought Diaz. He's going to be technical. He's going to jump in, jump
yeah,
out. Yep.
yeah, I think he's gonna be too smart to get caught with. Man, Tyron Woodley can put anyone out with one hit.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's something. But I think Carlos Condit is a great, well-rounded guy who won't fall into those bombs. You know, it's not very often that, like, look, he went with Johnny Hendricks,
Yeah.
and he still went. He didn't get caught with any of those big hits. You know, we don't really see Carlos Condit get fucked up in the stand-up too much. Um, so I think that he's going to avoid the big bombs. Tyron Woodley's going to gas out, and we're either going to see an unanimous decision victory, or we're going to see a TKO late, or like not late. I think in the third round or late in the second.
All right, final one, the last one, the main event of the night. Johnny Hendricks, Robbie Lawler for the welterweight title. Who's gonna be the new king?
Ah man, the new king or the king?
Oh,
The king is already Johnny Hendricks.
yeah, the king is already Johnny Hendricks, but
The
GSP
king.
fans would not say that.
How many fans does he have? Apart from Canada, my girlfriend actually loves George St. Pierre.
Uh-huh.
She loves George St. Pierre, and I actually complain, and I'm like, man, look at Johnny, look how good his beard is. Like, as if that's not more attractive to you. But honestly, I find this fight. I think that Johnny Hendricks is going to utilize his wrestling a lot more in this fight, and I think he's gonna go in there and he's gonna grind this out. It's gonna be an exciting fight. As much as both guys love to throw leather and do all this thing, like knock each other out, I think that Johnny Hendricks is gonna be smart, take him down, and I think that that's really Lawler's weakness against Hendricks, because Lawler, we've seen him get knocked out before. You know, he got knocked out by Diaz and things back in the days. But man, he's been on a tear since he's gotten back into the UFC. You know, he's looking mean and he's looking hungry, looking reinvented. I don't think Johnny Hendricks is going to take him lightly. I don't think Johnny Hendricks is going to be stupid enough not to utilize his wrestling. And I think that that's going to play a big part in the fight with Lawler and Hendricks. I think he's going to take him down a few times at the start of the fight. And this is the tactic I love the most. Get him down early, make him think about the takedown, and then, you know, fake a shot, come over with some big bombs. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's eventually going to find... Someone's going to go down. Someone is going to go down in the 5 rounds. But I don't know if it'll be a finish. Everyone's like, oh, nah, no way he can go to a decision. But this fight can well and truly go to a decision because both guys are tough as hell. I see Johnny Hendricks in the end getting his hand raised. Whoever does get their hand raised in this fight, though, as a fan of the sport, it doesn't make a difference to me. Whoever it is, I'd be happy to call either one of them the UFC welterweight champion, and I'd rather have either of those guys representing the UFC's be the UFC champion. Carlos Condit, Tyrone Woodley, Hector Lombard. Those guys are exciting fighters to watch. Any 5 of those guys being the champion in my eyes is cool because I'd watch the next fight that they have as long as Ben Askren's not there. You know? So,
I
thank you,
100%
Dana White.
agree with you.
See, everyone hates Dana White. Everyone hates him. Everyone rips on him. Dana, you're a cool guy. You know, don't let anyone bring you down. You know, I'm with you, Dana. So if you ever come to Australia, you know where my gym's at. Yeah, just doing the suck up tactics. But like, yeah, I think that's the smartest thing Dana White's ever done. Not put Ben Askren into that division. Because I'll tell you, Ben Askren could beat a lot of those guys in that welterweight division in the UFC. He could beat a lot of them.
Nah, I don't think Ben Askren can beat Johnny Hendricks.
Oh no, that's the one name I was gonna just say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'd be good enough to beat Johnny Hendricks,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think he'd be good enough to grind out decisions against Hector Lombard or someone like that. You know what? Lombard hasn't been tested enough at 170. We don't know how. Like we just watch him walk in and dominate. I want to watch him get put against a good wrestler and see really someone who can really put him down. I think that Jake Shields is that good test for him. So it'll be good. But I see him beating those guys. I don't see him beating Hendricks. But at the same time, I like as much as I want to see Hendricks knock him out. At the same time, I'd be like, do I really, really want to contribute to Ben Askren? You know, and make Dana White think that people want to watch him fight? Or something like that. If Ben Askren ever got, you know how they do that 2% of pay-per-views thing that they give to him, like what Alistair Overeem gets?
Yeah.
If that was the case, I would make sure, I'd personally tell everyone at my gym, all my friends, don't buy this pay-per-view, so no extra money goes into Ben Askren's pocket. Don't contribute to him. This isn't charity. You know?
All right, man. I'm gonna wrap up the show. I'm just gonna state that all the picks that Suman did for ONE FC War of Nations will be on article format, and he will be joined with Helen Harper from Phuket Talk Team,
Hey,
and
she's cool. Helen Harper is freaking cool, man. Helen Harper is like an awesome lady, and man, I'd love to see Helen fight in ONE FC or something against some of these girls that they've got. Helen's a real cool chick. I've trained with her. Awesome grappler, a really nice girl. You know, it's good that you can get her involved in this show. It'll be good if you can get her onto the show. You know, her British accent might be a bit annoying, yeah, but she's a real cool girl, lovely girl, and she's a very very hard worker.
all
Just
right.
want to point it out.
Oh, trust me, I'll try to get her on the show maybe next week. In
Yeah.
a lead up to her upcoming fight, which we will be announcing soon, and of course, as well, the article will also feature ONE FC fighter Major Overall, and hopefully, this Mr. Nick Harris, who is just on, I will try to get his picks as well. Um, just to take note, tomorrow I'll be flying off to KL to cover ONE FC. While I'm there, I'll be visiting Wayfit and Monarchy to continue on my TFS gym visit series. Suman, you have anything else to talk about? You got Brace coming up, isn't it?
Sorry, Brace. Yeah, we got Brace coming up this weekend at Luna Park in Sydney. I've got two of my guys who are fighting in Brace. They've both got two first round tough matchups against tournament favorites. You know, they got kind of the short end of the stick and got the tournament favorites first up. You know, but that's the game we're in. It's each weight division is an 8-man tournament. I got a bantamweight, Darwin Sugrit and William Namoa, who's in the middleweight division. He's actually a welterweight that walks around at 83. He's fighting at the middleweight division, but he's a replacement. And you know, I know my guys bang, my guys bring it, my guys are exciting, you know, and they're gonna put on a big show. I had Nitro this weekend that we were talking about this before, and we have a new Nitro 205-pound champion, Sam K9K, who I'm sure this kid can shock the world. This guy is a pleasure to have in my gym. He's a good friend of mine, and he is the fiance of Amy Adam, and he is legit. He's 22 years old. I've never met someone so eager and so quick at learning, you know. Since he used to train at another gym before. Since he's been in my gym, he hasn't lost. He's been on fire, and he's been keen to become the best. And we nearly got him onto the last Rebel as a replacement for Cristiano Kamanishi when he was meant to verse Don Juan Kim. We nearly got him on 6 days' notice, but we didn't get to happen. So I'm hoping maybe let's remember, he's the only man with a win over Chris Igor Lokdev, who's in ONE FC heavyweight division, who just beat Tony Johnson.
Yep.
So this kid's legit. He can knock anyone out, and he can now wrestle anyone. He can submit anyone. He's legit. He is, I think, in my opinion, one of the best pound for pound fighters now in Australia, and he can make it in on the world scene. Singapore or wherever it is in Asia would benefit a lot from a kid like this guy coming over because he always puts on exciting fights. You watch any of his fights, I'm sure you've seen his fights before. He puts on an exciting fight. He comes for the knockout every time, and he's legit. You know, he's a very young guy. He had losses earlier in his career, and he's coming back, and he's destructive. He can put out anyone. Like, I'm telling you, I could throw this kid in with some UFC guys, and he will beat the crap out of them.
All right, man.
And
That's
anyone who's trained with him would know that. Anyone who's trained with him or watched him fight would know that this kid's legit. You know, I hope to see him on the world scene soon.
and I hope to see a video of the wedding with the Nitro belt as well.
Hey, you'll see that. You'll see that. Hey, I was walking around the airport on the way back from Queensland with that belt, and Amy, I was actually walking behind them when Amy and him were holding hands.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. People looked at me like the champ, but they didn't realize I was holding it up for them. I was practicing my belt hold. You know, you'll see photos of that. You'll see photos. And that belt is not going nowhere. No man can take that belt. He's easily, in my opinion, now the best 205 pounder. There's no one for him to fight in the 93 kilo division in Australia. There is no one else for him to fight. We have Randall Ray and him in the same gym. They won't fight. They're now probably the two best guys. I think Sam is by far where he's at. Randall's at the moment injured, so Sam's right now in a dominant position, training hard and ready for it. He's going to be fighting at a brace as well in May. He's in the light heavyweight tournament. We're going to see him knock some dudes out. This is the year of the K9. This is going to be a big year for the young stud, you know. It'll be great. I hope that he gets to come over and you can see him fight live one day.
All right, man. That would be great, man. This will be a wrap up of the show. Next week we'll come back. Frank Barca will be on to talk about brace with you guys. So hopefully, if you guys can bring on, I would like to get Amy and Sam together on the show. The reason being is the topic of having fighters as couples. So because the fighters as couples in the world right now is probably Brian Caraway and Misha Tate and the other.
No. Take that back. Misha Tate's actually mine. Yeah, me and Misha. Well, I follow her on Instagram. It's a bit of a one-way relationship for now. Brian Caraway is just a pest, and he seems to be getting in my way. Brian, I'll fuck you up if you ever come to Australia. No,
Suman versus Brian for Misha Tate. That would be like some WWE shit, man.
I don't even need a ring. I don't need a cage. I don't need nothing. I'll fight him in the parking lot. Tables, ladders, chairs, whatever he wants. Misha Tate's my woman. Get your hands off her. You know, touch her and I'll kill you. I don't care if she has a big nose. That's my woman. You know, I love her to death.
Yeah, I don't know what your girlfriend's gonna think about that, man.
Hey, don't worry about my girlfriend. She's giving me a pass on that. She said to me, because she's pretty sure that I will never meet Misha Tate. But what she doesn't realize is that I have got more chance to meet Misha Tate than she does of meeting Leonardo DiCaprio. Alright, so Misha, if you're listening to this, my girlfriend's not a problem. Brian isn't a problem. I'll see him in the car park. I'll go tag team with someone else, one of my other boys. I'm sure Sam K will back me up. You know, there's no fight like the fight for love. You know, if I'm fighting for the love of my woman, I'm gonna fuck him up.
Talking about that, another couple is Evangelista Cyborg and Cyborg Santos. As a couple, now we got Sam K and Amy Adam. I got a lot of interesting questions to ask them, seeing like
you know what? I'll speak to them, and I'm sure that they'll be interested.
If they are interested, I'll bring back the show to 11 p.m. Australia. So hopefully,
if we could do that, because they live far from my gym. So yeah, we usually do it at I'm at my gym right now. If we could do it at 11 o'clock, it would be perfect. I'm sure I can try and get them on. And as for the Cyborg relationship, who's the man in that relationship?
I'm not sure. I think both are the men in the relationship.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most testosterone filled relationship. That is one relationship that will never ever be UFC allowed again. You know, I don't know. I'm scared of Cyborg, the female Cyborg. If you are listening to this, please fight Ben Askren. Please fight him, because I think that you could beat the shit out of him, and I'm scared of you. You're a lovely lady. Just don't hurt me. Don't do anything. I'm sorry for what I just said. Cyborg, you're a great lady. I've never met you in person, and I hope I don't, because you'd probably beat the shit out of me. I'm truly scared of you. I'm terrified. Alright, yeah.
Alright, man, it's pretty late down there. We'll come back with Frank and Suman, depending on who's going to be the guest on the show the next week. We'll talk about Brace, we'll talk about 1FC War of Nations aftermath, and also, of course, we will talk about UFC 171. So see you guys next week. Thanks again, Suman, for being on the show.
See ya.
Alright, see you.